Okay, so we're meeting tonight and looking at the vagus nerve. And in particular, we're now going to look at the vagus nerve from a massage perspective. So, vagus nerve, cranial nerve 10, is the most active nerve system within our entire body. And in particular, it's responsible for the sympathetic, fight, flight, and freeze, parasympathetic, rest and digest. For 300 million years, we have evolved as a species. And, the last 200,000 years where we've become Homo sapiens, the vagus nerve has been around 300 million years. So it is the primal reason why we are able to avoid stress and we're able to stay alive, because the stressor comes, agitation arrives, and we know how to exit. And as I've said to you guys before, it works fantastically well when we're dealing with a saber-toothed tiger or a wolf, like I show in the course. However, in modern day stress and living, we have continuous and multiple stressors appearing all the time, one after another, kind of piling up on top of each other. So we don't have the luxury of seeing a wolf or a saber-toothed tiger. And if we saw it and it was on the hill and it hadn't seen us yet, when it turns and moves and goes away, we think, it's okay, I've got away from it. So what happens there is we get the sympathetic response: freeze, watch, wait. The wolf leaves, sympathetic off, parasympathetic on, rest and digest. I can move on. But for many people now, and in some studies, we look at nearly 80% of the adult population is now in this kind of low-grade anxiety or in a pretty much stressed state all the time. And the problem is, the more we stay in this stress state, the more agitation comes to the body, and we then start to have physical symptoms as well as our mental anxiety, stress, and depression. So that often ends up in back pain. It might end up in more regular colds and flus. Then it ends up in arthritis, and we can often develop autoimmune diseases such as fibromyalgia. So the body is constantly finding ways to send us messages, and it's asking us to try and pay attention to the principal reason why we feel unwell. And if we can focus on that, then we can start to recover. So this is a massage that allows us to just check in with the vagus nerve and just see how it feels. Okay. So in terms of doing this, it's an invitational. If you want to do it, if you feel nervous, if you want to just watch, obviously for those watching us live now, you can watch and then you can repeat it afterwards, or you can participate. Most importantly though, we're not going to stick our finger into our ear. We're not going to be touching our eardrum. We're just going to be around the periphery sides where these key access points are of the vagus nerve. Okay. So to start off with, I want to just get you to sense how tight your ears are. Okay. So that might sound like a crazy thing. Okay. But imagine stress, tension. Okay. You feel it in your face. So take your ear and just take one ear first and kind of pull it out to the side, pull it up. Sense of tightness, looseness. Maybe don't really notice very much, but just get a sense of how it is when we start. And do the same with the other ear. Just kind of pulling it out, down, up. Okay. And start with the right ear. So take your finger and we're going to first have a finger in this kind of cavity area, which is little space. You've got your canal going in there, and then just above that, it's like a little ridge, and you can actually get your finger just inside that little ridge. So there's only fleshy parts of the ear there. Not touching anything sensitive, but there's a ridge there. So have your top of your finger in there. And then once the top of your finger's in there, just start to turn it around. So you're just moving skin in a 360-degree movement. So it's slow, gradual. You get a sense of feeling the connection. You don't need to put any pressure on here, just making a connection with the nerve ending. As you do that, you may feel sensations in the body. So sometimes it might make you feel like you want to gulp a little bit, or you may feel your breathing regulation change a little bit. So your breath might slow down. It might make you feel a little bit calmer, or it may have no impact. So just noticing what's here when you're making that movement, but really having that finger just inside that ridge and feeling the skin under the finger as you make those turns. Now, one side can often feel different to the other. So if you're watching this as a recording, it can be an opportunity to pause and continue on. If you feel like it's really bringing some ease, then it's worth continuing for a little bit longer. But as we're live, we're gonna just swap around. So I actually feel it already. My heart starts to feel a bit different. It's interesting. So stop on that side. And then we'll just simply swap to the other side. So again, just being aware it's that above. So you've got your finger in, you've got your ear canal, then you've got a ridge above it. You then push up into that little ridge so that the tip of your finger is then rubbing against the side of your head and your ear. So that you feel that movement of skin and your head just behind it. Again, just soft, subtle, circular movements. Just thinking about moving the skin around in circles. This may bring a sense of some physiological changes in the body or not. It's okay. It may feel different on one side to the other. So we're getting a sense of getting the kind of grisly feeling of the ear. You're pushing that just against the skull so that you can feel the skin of the skull, the bone, the ear, and the bone of the skull. Everything is just compressed in a little bit, but just providing a little bit of movement, no heavy pressure at all. And then take that one away. Okay, so we now move to the back of the ear. Okay, so these are the two main points where the contact is with cranial nerve 10. So the back of the ear is, finger is going in, your nail is kind of facing forward. You go into the ear just far enough that you're able to kind of get a sense of the whole of the back of the ear in contact with the skull. Okay. And then again, just using circular motions. Jay's got to do this in her car, so anybody who's going past now will completely believe you're so mad, Jay. If anybody knows, you will know you're mad anyway. So again, just noticing how the body is, maybe the breathing, the heart rate, mood, gulp mechanism. Just making that contact between the ear, kind of pushing back. Again, if you're watching this in the video and if that feels particularly different or better than the others, you might want to do it a bit longer. So, but for the video, for the live version, we'll swap sides. So again, finger in the ear, not pushing in deep into the canal, but you've now got a sense of, okay, I can push back this part of my ear and I can feel the contact again with my skull. And now making these kind of 360-degree movements once again.
Do your breathing exercise with it, Justin?
Sorry?
Should you do the breathing exercise with it, or just breathe naturally?
Just really breathe as you are, because what you're trying to kind of get a sense of in this is just, how does my body feel from its normal position to just this as an intervention? What's the change? So we don't look to change the breath in any way, just breathing, but the breath itself may actually start to change its regulatory nature. So you may find that you start to breathe a little bit slower, a little bit deeper, but don't consciously make any changes. Okay. And then we move on to the last part. So the last part is, so those movements there are directly contacting the key nerve ending points for the vagus nerve. This part here is just an addition, but it just helps. This is particularly helpful in terms of the jaw. So a lot of people, again, when you're in sympathetic response, you can carry a lot of tightness in the upper and lower jaws. So this time, I'm trying to work this out with the camera. I'm going to the back part of this ear around there. So you've got this. Oops. How can I get this around here? There. Okay, so you see this part here? So the space between your ear and your hairline. You're gonna bring 2 fingers just in there, okay? And all you're gonna do is just push the skin up, just hold it up. All we're doing is we're saying to the nervous system, skin can move here, it can go up, and let it go. Then you're gonna just pull it down. And when you pull it down, kind of pull it down and back a little bit. So kind of like down and to the back of the head. Again, just hold it here when you pull it down. Okay. And then I'm gonna push it forward. So just get that skin there at the back, just with 2 fingers. Doesn't matter what part you get, once you get it behind your ear, just pushing the skin forward towards front of your face.
It's effectively under your earlobe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then backwards, which is directly back to the back of the head. So what we're doing is we're just teaching the nerves there, because a lot of times they can get locked and tightened and they believe, oh, this is how we are and this is where we stay. So we're just showing them, actually, you know what? I can move up, I can move down, I can move sideways, because they often forget. And the sympathetic response, so polyvagal theory is the principle. It's a groundbreaking piece of research. It's about 25 years old now, but where we realized that we have a capacity to intervene, and these things are not set in stone. So let's do the other side. So again, just starting out by pull away. So you just, start again by pulling up.
Up.
Yeah, or pushing up, should I say. Just pushing up into the hairline. And then pulling down. When you pull down, kind of pull it off slightly to an angle. So it's down and to the back a little bit. And then pushing back. Sorry, pushing forward, should I say? I need to watch Sesame Street to get my forwards, backwards, and left and right again. Forward to the front of the face. And then backwards to the back of the head. That's it. And then just give your face a little bit of animation. So, how is that? Anybody feel anything?
I feel quite sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Made me feel sleepy.
Top of the earlobe. There, that was almost, I would have was making you sleepy, but yeah, it was a different sensation, yeah.
Mm.
And
I thought there might be a Harry when Harry met Sally moment, but you know, not quite.
I was going to say it was very relaxing, very calming.
Yeah, I had a feeling when I saw Jay arriving that, you know, when I start describing the ideas of massaging your ears, that it would go downhill from there.
Well, I certainly didn't think I'd be poking my ears with you, Justin. Let's put it that way. But it was very good.
The reason why we get a sleep response is because a lot of times when we're stressed, our body doesn't know how to go to sleep anymore. So I mentioned before the whole idea of the stress response, and we end up in, if we go into the fight, flight, and freeze response, our primal body doesn't understand, you know, work stress, email stress, social media stress, family stress, COVID. It doesn't understand all these different interactions. It only understands stress or no stress, right? And when you go into stress, what happens is the same primal instincts work as if you were being hunted down 1,000 years ago and you were being chased through the forest and you're tired and eventually you have to sleep. So you settle down, you create some shelter and you sleep. But you sleep with one eye open, really, because you're consciously aware that there is a predatory threat in the forest, and you're awake thinking, where is that? So that, of course, worked well because 1,000 years ago, when we were in that situation, we would be watching for it. We'd only take, you know, a short amount of sleep, just enough to get us to the point of being okay, and then we could start moving again. And eventually, you know, within a day or within hours of that pursuit, we would lose the person who is in pursuit of us and we'd be safe again. Modern day stress, the challenge is that we don't see the stressor. And actually, it's multiple stresses. It's 24-hour news, it's my marriage, it's my friendships, it's my social media, it's my work, it's my WhatsApp groups, it's my, you know, friends who are going through all kinds of challenges. it's the previous things that have happened to me in my life. All of these things are a multitude of vistas. So the nervous system is not able to see them. So the nervous system ends up being in this stress state where it's not able to know how to go to sleep. So the massage is telling the nervous system, you know, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So we're literally just tapping into the vagal response and just letting it know right now it's okay. And when I did this at home in the garden before I came here, and yeah, I mean, myself and my wife were like ready to fall asleep as well. So it's a very good way of inducing a sense of calm and ease, but it's an intervention. And the main thing, though, I must stress is that it's very helpful to have this and to use it from time to time. But it's really secondary in terms of what you can teach yourself from meditation, because what you're teaching yourself from a meditation perspective is that it's always okay, that you're always able to calm down, and that right now you're not under threat. So every time when you develop and you build your meditation practice, you're checking in with your body every morning, and you're literally connecting to your nervous system, and you're saying, hello, good morning, right now, everything is okay. And of course, things may not be okay in the terms of the fact that there'll be difficulties throughout the day, but we're teaching the nervous system, I want you to respond to difficulties when they arrive. I don't want you to be always on responding. So it's the big difference between down-regulate and when I need you, turn on, versus always on and like literally hunting and looking for things. So people who are particularly stressed, if I have, especially on Zoom, it's really interesting actually, because I notice it more on Zoom because I work with clients on a one-to-one basis. We're working with the face. People who are particularly stressed, even in their own homes. So when you bring somebody into therapy room and they're stressed, they'll sit down and their eyes, they won't even notice this. They'll be having a conversation, but their eyes will be looking around and moving because their nervous system is thinking, where are the exits? How do I get out of here? And am I safe? And even when you're working with people on Zoom and they're in their own homes, when they're in that sympathetic response state, they're agitated, fidgety, stressed. And, you know, for you guys, over the course of the time we've been together, you just start to down-regulate when you come on here because you think, okay, it's a container, it's safe, I can kind of talk and chat and say what I want to say. And actually on that point, let me just